this is Kaelyn. Welcome to another video in the Orion TI-84 Talking Graphing Calculator series. Today I'm going to cover some more trigonometric functions, secant, cosecant, and cotangent. So, please turn on your calculators.
Press the second to clear.
Okay, so first, if you have done probably actually pre-calc and beyond, trigonometry unit in pre-calc, you will know that secant is the inverse of cosine, or 1 over cosine, and cosecant is the inverse of sine, or 1 over sine, and cotangent is the inverse of tangent, 1 over tangent. And this should not be confused with the to the power of -1 notation of arcsine, because while that is the inverse function, this is just the reciprocal inverse, which again, the terminology is not great here, but please do not misconstrue arcsine into the power of -1 of sine with this reciprocal concept. So unfortunately, this calculator doesn't have a specific button that does sine or cosine or tangent in its inverse automatically. So there's no secant button, there's no cosecant button, and there is no cotangent button. But this is possible to do this by simply taking the result of sine and then raising it to the -1 power, and there is actually a convenient button for that, so you don't have to go through all the power key, open parenthesis, -1, close parenthesis. That is not necessary here. So first, go to your sine function, and if you do not know where that is, please watch the first 2 videos in the trigonometry section of the series.
Sine.
Now, for this example, I'm going to use pi over 4. If your calculator is currently set to degrees, you'll want to switch it to radians. This is also covered in the first 2 videos. So, pi
Second on. Pi.
divided by
Divided by
4.
4.
Don't forget the close parenthesis.
Close pair.
Enter.
17071067812.
And this is the result of the sine function. In order to get this to be the cosecant function, you're going to raise this to the power of -1, which you can do by the x to the power of -1 key. And x in this case is just, if you put this in next to a value, it's just going to raise that to the power of -1, so the x that is written on the calculator doesn't actually mean anything to us. It's just a placeholder for whatever value. So you're going to hit this key, which is 1, 2, 3 keys below the second key.
Answer inverse.
This is answer inverse, or to the power of -1. And if you know your exponent rules, to the power of -1 basically becomes 1 over whatever value to the power of whatever value it is negative. So to the power of -2 is 1 over, let's say, x to the power of 2. So on and so forth. So answer to the power of -1 is going to make this cosecant, because cosecant equals 1 over sine.
1.41421356.
Again, it's not super obvious that this is what it's doing, but if you were getting this as a fraction export, then you would see that it the numerator and denominator would flip. As I also discussed in the previous video on arcsine, arctangent, and arccosine, it's not perfect because it doesn't have a fraction export, and often the show as fraction key, which I covered in an Algebra 1 video, doesn't work on this particular function. So you can do the exact same thing for cosine, or secant in this case. So first you're going to take the cosine of our example, pi divided by 4. Don't forget your close parent.
17071067812.
In this particular case, they are the same, which is kind of quirky. And then you're going to raise this to the power of -1
Answer inverse.
and hit enter.
1.41421356.
It happens to be the same result due to the example, but this also fulfills the same criteria. For tangent, it's the exact same thing.
Tangent. 4.
Oops.
4. Second pi. Divided by 4. Close 1.
This equals 1. And in order to get the inverse of this, it's actually going to be the same, which is, again, kind of quirky, because 1 over 1 is also equal to 1. So it's not the most efficient method, and maybe online methods would be faster, but that's how you do it. Thank you for watching.